Hello everyone and welcome to our video series Learn Persian for Beginners. In the last lesson, you learned how to conjugate the two verbs بودن and داشتن. In this lesson, we will understand what a verb is, what are its functions, and what is the structure of a verb. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for learning Persian for free and in the easiest way. I offer structured courses for A1. You can also learn Persian through a complete course book that I teach using specialized books for Persian learners, the books that are taught in the best universities or Persian institutions in Iran. You can also visit our page on persiancampus.com to get free worksheets, transcripts, songs, podcasts, and early access to our videos. So let's begin. درس 12 فعل چیست؟ یه بار دیگه فعل چیست؟ What is a verb? Let's first go through the learning objectives of this lesson. First, we will learn what a verb is. Then, we'll learn the structure of a verb. And finally, we will learn what the irregular and regular verbs are. Coming to the first part, what a verb is, verbs can be divided from different aspects. If they are categorized based on their vacancies, that is, how many nouns they want to be meaningful and make a complete sentence, they can be either transitive or intransitive. What they are, we're going to learn more in the following lessons. If they are categorized based on their structure, that is, how many parts they have, they can be simple or compound verbs. We already have seen many transitives and intransitive verbs. For example, داشتن is a transitive verb because it needs not only the subject but also another verb as an object to make a complete sentence. While the verbs such as رفتن or زندگی کردن are intransitive verbs because their meaning is completed using only a noun as a subject who does this verb or this experience. On the other hand, a verb is simple if it has only one element, such as رفتن, داشتن. They can be compound if they have two or more parts. The parts that can be a noun, an adjective, an adverb, or a preposition. Together, they make a new verb with new meaning, such as کردن, to do, versus زندگی کردن, to live. Here is an example of a compound verb. من فوتبال بازی میکنم. The verb here is بازی میکنم. As you can notice, the verb describes an action. The sentence structure depends on the verb. Let's analyze another verb that we have already learned, and that is رفتن. This form of the verb is known as the infinitive form of a verb. An infinitive verb is a verb that is not conjugated yet. It doesn't have any subject. It doesn't have any ending that show the subject. Each infinitive form in Persian has a stem, which here is رف, a past marker, here te, and an infinitive ending, an. All verbs in infinitive form have the ending an. In this way, you can easily recognize the infinitive form of a verb. The past stems are mostly at, ad, id. What remains is the stem. If the verb is regular, this remaining stem is the present stem. If the verb is irregular, that is, you cannot simply find their stem by the above method. You need to memorize them. So, although you can easily get to the past stem just by removing an, the infinitive marker, you need to memorize the present stems if they are irregular. Here are some more verbs in their infinitive forms. You already know these verbs and you have seen them in many ways or the other. داشتن, آمدن, زندگی کردن, یاد گرفتن, هستن، بودن، حرف زدن، صحبت کردن، شنیدن. The best way to remember a verb is to remember its infinitive form. However, when we make a sentence, the verb has to be conjugated. Here are two examples of verb conjugation. من فارسی و انگلیسی صحبت میکنم. This verb is not only a verb in present tense using the infinitive form of the verb کردن, but also it is a compound verb. صحبت کردن. Next one. شما آلمانی صحبت میکنید؟ As you can see, both these sentences have the same verb, but it is conjugated differently. The conjugation of the verb depends on the subject in the sentence. We have learned the pronouns in lessons 8 to 10. You can find the links in the caption. So, the verbs you pick up has to be conjugated according to the subject in a sentence. How would you know which ending to take? Well, it depends on the subject. However, the conjugation of a verb depends on two important things. Firstly, the person. Are we talking about the first person, second person, or third person? Same also applies to the things. Secondly, whether this person or thing is in singular form or plural. And for all these, we have some pronouns which we have learned in lessons 8 to 10. If you remember, that's how we conjugated the verb داشتن و بودن in lesson 11. Apart from these rules, you will also come across the fact that in Persian, there are two basic types of verbs, regular verbs and irregular verbs. It should be noted, though, that each verb, whether regular or irregular, has one and only one present stem for all persons. Therefore, as opposed to languages like French and Spanish, Persian does not have irregular conjugation. It means for all verbs, either regular or irregular, the endings are the same. What makes them different is their stem. Let's see some examples. First, for the regular verbs in their infinitive form. خوردن، پاشیدن، خوابیدن، خواندن، خندیدن، آوردن، افتادن، ایستادن، باریدن، بخشیدن، بریدن، بوسیدن. With these verbs, when you remove the infinitive marker and the past affix, you will have the present stem. And then you can simply add the subject endings and conjugate them. So, the stem of these verbs would be خور، پاش، خواب، خوان، خند، آور، افت، ایست، بار، بخش، بر، بر، بوس. Now let's see some irregular verbs in their infinitive forms. رفتن، دیدن، کردن، زدن، گفتن، شنیدن، دادن، انداختن، باختن، بردن. With these verbs, if you remove the infinitive and the past marker, what you will have is not the pure present step. You have to memorize their present stems or do the changes to gain the real present stem. Then you can add the endings and then conjugate them. We will learn more about the regular and irregular verbs in the following lessons. The present stems of these verbs are rav, bin, kon, zan, گوی، شنو، ده، انداز، باز، بر. In the next lessons, we will learn a few regular and irregular verbs in detail. Now let's summarize what we have learned in this lesson. The verb describes an action. The structure of a sentence depends on the verb. Every verb has an infinitive form, which is made of the verb stem plus past marker. While using a verb in a sentence, it has to be conjugated according to the subject. There are two types of verbs, افعال با قاعده, افعال بی قاعده, regular and irregular verbs. Both these types of verbs are conjugated the same. The only difference is between their stem. In regular verbs, the verb stem is gotten by removing the infinitive marker and past marker, whereas in irregular verbs, we need to know some rules or memorize the stems. Great! Hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, you'll give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you still haven't. You can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we upload a new video. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave them in the comment sections below. ممنونم. خداحافظ.